So some of you guys may have heard the statistic that's 391% increase in sales if you can contact a lead within 60 seconds. And so the question that I always ask a business owner that doesn't do this is, what are you currently dedicating resources towards that is going to quadruple your business that's going to do that? And the answer is there's almost nothing. I talked to a guy who did like drywall stuff, and he was closing 55% of his leads, not scheduled appointments, not shows. He was closing 55% of his leads. And I was like, what on earth are you doing? And he said, I listened to what you said, and we call all of our leads within 60 seconds. The thing is the industry average there is they're closing like 5 or 10% of their leads. And so the numbers check out. He's more than 4 or 5x compared to the industry average because of this one thing.
With that great introduction from Alex Hormozi, who, if you don't know, is the founder of Acquisition.com, a portfolio of companies worth over $200 million, I'm going to show you an AI agent that might just be able to 391% increase your sales. And I'm going to show you deeper insights from the original research that this was based on from Velocify, and show you how speed to call can transform your business. So these are the contents for today's video. I'm going to firstly give you a quick introduction to myself. Then I'm going to talk about why speed to call is critical and go deeper into the original research that this stat was based on. I'm going to talk about problems when it comes to implementing a very quick speed to call. I'm going to talk about the AI agent that I've built myself to solve this problem. I'm going to give you a rough breakdown of the operating costs of this agent. Then I'm going to go into a deep dive of the limitations and how I personally go about solving them. And then references will be in the description for resources like the introduction video you saw. So here's a quick intro to myself. I'm a freelance AI engineer and AI consultant. I was formerly a data scientist at the companies Atos and Eviden, all in focused on generative AI since essentially the start of ChatGPT. I specialize in development and consulting when it comes to AI agents and AI automation workflows. I've already worked with clients in industries such as marketing, pharma, fintech, and HR. So here's the research that Alex Hormozi was talking about. It actually originally came from Velocify, and I haven't seen this anywhere else where the original source has actually been found. This will be in the references, but what you can see is the huge drop in the likelihood that a lead will convert if you contact them slow. So the baseline was over 24 hours. You can see within 1 minute, you get a 391% increase in the likelihood that that lead would convert. This can be absolutely transformative for many businesses. Talking about 5, 6, 7, 8-figure potential uplift depending on the business. Key details from the study is that they've measured just under 3.5 million leads. They looked at over 400 companies. They looked over multiple industries, and the data was collected over 3 quarters so that there was enough time for these deals to actually convert and a whole sales cycle to actually be completed. While it would be more ideal to have granular details on the exact industries used and the exact companies measured, this source, mixed with Alex Hormozi's strong backing, gives me confidence that the stat can apply in many different situations. Here are some problems that business owners or decision makers will see when it comes to implementing a very quick speed to call, let's say under 1 minute. The first is very limited bandwidth. Calling all your leads within 1 minute is tough. If you're the business owner or decision maker, you're going to have to make major trade-offs because you likely have too much to do already. And so if you want to call all your leads within 1 minute, some other area of your business is going to have to suffer. Problem number 2 is keeping costs low. A new hire is expensive. Hiring, training, management, retaining them, and if you lose them, rehiring. You could easily be looking at costs of over $100,000 per year, especially if you need to hire multiple salespeople. Third problem is if you do decide to automate a call, you want to make sure that you avoid a cold robotic response that may actually push the lead away. Fourth is accuracy. A sales agent will need to stick to company guidelines and make sure that the prospect they're talking to is led to the next best steps, prospect specific situation. Fifth is fatigue. If you have leads coming in 24/7 and you require someone to be constantly calling all around the clock, having one salesperson is an easy ticket to burnout and something that's unsustainable. You would need multiple real salespeople, then further increases your costs. I'm going to do a walkthrough of my solution and then demo the whole thing for you. So now for a quick introduction. So I applied this to a real estate example. Of course, this can be applied to other examples. We're taking real estate so that I can go deep into one example and show you what it looks like when it's working end to end. What you're going to see is a near instant call on an opt-in, a natural conversation where the voice AI agent performs a micro discovery and then simulates setting an appointment that's not actually integrated. What you're going to see is a real integration with a CRM, customer relationship management software. We're going to utilize Airtable here. Of course, you can integrate with your own CRM like HubSpot, Salesforce, or Notion. Because we're utilizing an AI agent, you're not going to see this thing fatigue. Technically, AI models can have downtime due to server infrastructure being unavailable, and that technically you could argue is fatigue, but I'll talk about workarounds in the limitations and how I'd solve them section. So here's what I'm going to demo. I'm going to demo the potential home buyer, the AI sales agent, the capturing of the transcript, and AI analysis of key details. You can extract whatever you want, but I'm going to extract the desired outcome here. We're going to integrate with Airtable to do a handshake instead of a handoff. It means that whoever takes the lead after this AI sales agent talks to this home buyer will have a deep understanding of where the home buyer is, what their desired outcome is, potentially their whys, any critical events, the impact of the situation they're in right now, and general sales best practice that enables a smooth customer journey for all of your leads and prospects that come into your pipeline. Optionally, you can add remarketing and follow-ups and transfer it to a real sales rep or set an appointment whenever needed. Onto this demo real estate application, a luxury residential brokerage, and I'm gonna simulate being the home buyer. Okay, so now it's time for me to demo the opt-in. So in exchange for my contact details, I'm gonna get a free valuable resource specific to my pain points as a potential home buyer. This is also known as a lead magnet, and we've got a dream home buyer's guide specifically for potential home buyers. Details we're going to extract. Once the call's done, we're going to extract the transcript and desired outcome. So I'm going to fill in my details. I'm going to blur my phone number, and I'm going to put in a fake email. Here we go. So telemarketing guidelines require explicit consent in certain states in the United States and also some other countries. The demo application, I'm extracting explicit consent just to show you that this can be done as well. So I'll check that, simulating a privacy policy in terms of service given the data we're extracting. I'm going to get my free guide, show you the CRM being updated in real time, while I also get a call within 60 seconds and actually within 10 seconds. Here we go. Phone's up. CRM is here. I've got an update to the CRM and a call.
Tyler, I'm an AI assistant from Prestige Properties. Saw you opted in for our Dream Home Buyer's Guide. Do you have a quick 2 minutes to chat?
Yeah, I do. You guys are very quick, by the way.
Thanks, Philip. We aim to be as responsive as possible. Let's get started. What price range are you considering for your new home?
I'm looking at the range of $2.2 million to $3 million.
Great. That's a fantastic range. Which neighborhoods interest you most?
Beverly Hills.
Excellent choice. Beverly Hills has some stunning properties. When are you hoping to make your move?
In 3 months' time.
Perfect timing, and yeah, that gives us a great window to find the ideal home for you. We specialize in matching buyers with off-market luxury homes you won't see anywhere else online. Would it help if we booked a 15-minute call and I can send you a hand-picked list before we speak?
Yeah, that'd be great. Can you do tomorrow?
Absolutely, Philip. I'll schedule the 15-minute call for tomorrow and email you the invite shortly. Thanks for your time. If you ever prefer not to hear from us, just reply, stop. Have a great day.
Thank you. So that's a demo there. The call's ended, and within 10 seconds, you'll see the transcript and the desired outcome also stored within the CRM. Additionally, there could be functionalities like objection handling, and objections could even be a column on the site as well. So here's the transcript updated, and you can see the transcript, the whole transcript's here, which is useful for further sales efforts. You can also see the desired outcome has been extracted, and we've extracted that so that we have a very precise understanding of what the prospect wants to do, which should enable sales efforts, making things more precise and efficient. And so desired outcome is the example here. There could also be objections, past pain points, critical events. And this just allows us to supercharge our sales efforts even further. So that's the demo of the AI agent workflow for this real estate example. Right, so now onto rough operating costs that you can expect. So this is an example scenario which should apply to many business owners and decision makers. I know this doesn't apply for every situation. I've had a client where I was building voice AI agents in pharma. I know there's rules and regulations like HIPAA that need to be taken into account. So rough operating costs you can expect. This is quite rough, but 10 to 25 cents per minute is what you could expect for a voice AI agent that has been built properly and developed properly, given these assumptions too. So important notes at the bottom: length of call and length of prompt. You can think of prompt as the instructions to the AI, can influence costs. If the call is longer and the prompt is longer, it's going to cost more. Compliance considerations can also add very substantial costs. So a lot of costs can be due to just the amount of work and expertise required to ensure that your solution, your AI agent, and the workflow is compliant. AI prices fall very fast. The top AI frontier models could be 1/10 of their cost within 1 to 2 years, given the current trajectory, which may or may not continue. And a reminder that these are operating costs, not development costs, as that depends on who you work with and how you develop. So now into a deep dive. I'm very big on transparency, so I'm going to talk about many of the limitations of the solution and how I personally go about solving them. I've got 5 slides, so buckle in. First limitation I'm going to talk about is the human agent transfer, which I did not demo. I'd add the agent transfer call ability through Vapi, which is my personal favorite voice orchestration platform. Just a tool to create voice AI agent experiences quickly, efficiently, and effectively. My ideal is to have a second AI agent in parallel, decide if a transfer is needed, because this minimizes latency, which is critical for voice user experiences. This also avoids overloading the main sales agent with too many instructions. Another limitation is appointment setting and remarketing wasn't demoed. I'd personally map your customer journey and ensure the AI agent's conversation, design, and ability guides the lead or prospect to the correct next step in your pipeline. Often an appointment, which I simulated within the call with no actual external integration into something like Google Calendar. On to the next limitation. This is extremely important, ensuring real ROI for investors into solutions like this. While Velocify's study and the AI agent demo are very promising, you still need to measure actual ROI in each situation, especially when you take into account development costs. I prefer to begin with use case identification and doing a deep discovery call and phase to understand business value and ensure there's actual ROI when you take into account development costs and operating costs. I also am really big on measurement beforehand to ensure that there's a baseline that we can compare to and see if there's actual tangible real ROI. So we want to analyze key metrics before and after with rigor, taking into account things like statistical significance. I personally like to have a level of success-based pricing so that my customers don't take the full load of any uncertainty. These align with key principles that I take very seriously, which are making sure that my incentives are aligned with my customer and making sure I also obsess over my customer. If you're looking to make your business more efficient or scalable with a solution like the one I've just shown you, I'd love to chat. Book a free discovery call in the description below. So on to the next limitation and how I'd solve it. So we've got AI agent performance. We need to evaluate the performance, we need to improve it, and we need to maintain it. The analogy I like to use here is an AI agent is kind of like a new hire when it comes to improving performance. How do you get a new hire up to speed? You train them. So we need to teach the AI company guidelines and sales processes. How do you ensure a new hire is performing well? Regular performance reviews. So what we need to do with the AI is monitor and regularly sample and review traces from the AI. And another thing that happens is once a new hire starts to prove themselves, you don't need to review as often. They can become more independent. So it should be a curve that approaches zero in terms of how much we review. Of course, every now and then, we still want to ensure we're monitoring to a certain degree, so it may not reach zero completely. But that's a very similar parallel as to how I develop AI agents with my clients. Key technical concepts that apply here are error analysis and prompt engineering. You can think of this of just understanding and knowing how the AI agent makes mistakes. And this requires a lot of just data intuition, knowing how to evaluate AI agents. And then prompt engineering, prompts are sort of like instructions. So prompt engineering is just improving the quality of instructions we're giving to the AI and evaluating its performance, monitoring it, and making objective improvements. So this is just a bit of a breakdown as to how it's done. Just think of it as improving the AI agent's performance by applying technical expertise. This is where AI engineering comes into play. So to the next limitation, which is scaling. So this could be very important if you have a lot of lead flow and you have leads coming in 24/7. So you need to handle multiple calls at the same time, potentially long calls and high call volume. These are the technical concepts when it comes to scaling. I'll simplify once I just talk about them. So you've got backend engineering, DevOps, CloudOps, LLM ops for serving and operating the AI agent, and asynchronous programming to handle multiple calls at the same time, running in parallel wherever possible. Technically, it's concurrency. Those technical concepts and technical babble just allow you to have an AI agent that can handle a lot of calls, whether that's calls at the same time, long calls, and high call volume. So another key consideration is compliance. Just a disclaimer, this is not legal or professional advice. So I touched on it briefly, but there's telemarketing guidelines that require explicit consent in certain states in the United States or countries outside of the United States. We've got industry and location specific rules and regulations like GDPR, HIPAA, Data Protection Act 2018, PCI, and more. This, of course, depends heavily on the data you decide to store. You've also got Twilio phone number guidelines. For example, I've got an experimental free account and I can't make international calls with that free account. That's an example there. And compliance considerations also have links into the topic of cybersecurity too. When it comes to compliance, getting an industry and location specific expert is something that can be extremely beneficial. So on to guardrails, which help us limit the negative effects or outcomes that an AI agent workflow like the one I demoed can have. To the first topic, your prompt is your moat. So all the effort that goes into prompt engineering, making sure your AI agent sticks to company guidelines, sales processes, has a smooth conversation design, and just generates a great user experience means that you want to keep that intellectual property from being leaked to competitors. They can steal your hard work, your intellectual property, and get an insight into what your company guidelines are. So this is an example attack which utilizes some emotional prompting and emotional investment to try incentivize the AI to extract its inputs. So you have the first name box, if you go back to the demo, which is sent to the AI. And if this isn't sanitized or cleaned, then this could be sent to the AI and they could end up leaking your prompt, which has a lot of effort and intellectual property in it. So a potential solution there is to have a system that cleans inputs before they're sent and just has a quick check before it's sent to the AI. You can also do something like PII redaction, which is personally identifiable information redaction, which is just removing things like first names or anything that can link to a real person's identity before the transcript analysis, which was done with the CRM integration in the demo. So on the theme of transparency and also rigor, another side of limitations. One is maximizing the transcription accuracy. So you can see the transcription at the end of the demo was put in the CRM. This is also captured within the Vapi.ai voice orchestration platform. And what you can do is test multiple providers like DeepGram, 11 Labs. You can also keep the audio of the conversation so that you can cross-check. This then also links back into compliance. So always a balancing act of adding features and making sure that you're compliant. So this is where there's a lot of expertise required. Pronunciation is also a very, very important consideration to take into account. I had a pharma client where a voice AI agent was actually very unclear with an important word. It was actually milligrams related to dosage. This is an extremely important word to get right, especially when it comes to like dosaging. So that's where pronunciation becomes mission critical to ensure is high quality. Phonetic language is one way of solving this. So you write instructions as they should be spoken. This is my name phonetically spelled so that you can see how it's done. And this is one way to address the issues that come with pronunciation. So reliability of the AI models and the AI endpoints, fallbacks are one thing that's done. So example, if you're using OpenAI and their AI models, you can route requests or just send conversations to Anthropic, another AI company. However, your performance may or may not degrade, which just means it could get worse. So you need to evaluate this and monitor this. Another potential solution is having your own cloud deployment like Azure OpenAI when it comes to OpenAI. This is just another method to get something that's more reliable. If you made it this far in the video, thank you very much for listening. References are in the description so that you can see the information with your own eyes, and also to give credits where credits are due when it comes to the resources I used for this video. So thank you very much for listening and have a great day.